and thanks for tuning in to the second part of our discussion on the practicalities and benefits of working with alternative legal service providers. I'm John Townend, Head of Legal Services at Konexo, and I was recently joined by Vanya Bromfield from Smith's Group, Chris Dye from Johnson Controls, Anna Lawrence from Elementis Global, and Kate Newbound from HSBC to talk about current trends. In part one, we talked about insourcing, outsourcing, and the use of ALSPs, and in this next section, we focus on change management. And Kate, I know you, from our experience, you've done a lot of this, as you say, second generation of outsourcing, really. It's been embedded for a number of years. Does it feel like it's very much business as usual for your colleagues, would you say? I'm interested in how lawyers react to this sort of transformation that you've gone through. Presumably people who are in your team now are used to it, and it's just part of how work gets done.
I think they are. I think that ultimately people don't really like change, though. So we've recently changed providers, and that has been, you know, there's the people in the team who are there on the change scale, and the people in the team who are there on the change scale, and people who are over here are like, oh, I've got concerns. Lots of people have raised concerns quite a lot of the time about, I'm not sure about this, I'm not sure about that, and I think it's taking them on a journey that change is a good thing, and I think it's kind of accepting that there will be mistakes. Telling them in advance that there's going to be mistakes made, trying to get people on board with the fact that everything won't run smoothly. Transition is difficult, it's tricky, there will be challenges, but that ultimately you're looking at a goal that's in the future that will ultimately be better. And so people are used to it. So in answer to your question, I think people are used to the principle of outsourcing a lot of our work, but I think in the legal team, you still get people who have concerns about it. People who are, we've made decisions on a risk-based profile that there's certain things that we don't look at anymore, even within the outsourced providers. So I think people are in different places on that, and I think that's inevitable with lawyers. You've got people who are more conservative than others. But yeah, I think change is always tricky for people. I don't think lawyers generally are particularly good at it, or very well equipped for it, because I think that they like things to be done with the I's dotted and T's crossed.
Yeah, I've certainly worked with plenty, Kate, who see it as a bit of a threat, and it maybe this transformation isn't going to deliver the profile of work that they're interested in, or they might see that it's going to dumb things down for them in some way. Sometimes, Vanya, particularly when you start thinking of Six Sigma and sort of management consulting, efficiency and waste analysis and things like that, those things don't often sit nicely with some lawyers. How have your colleagues been reacting to those initiatives so far?
So I think what we did is we started to do it quite gently. So we had, I think all the way back in October 2019, but a sort of all group sort of legal conference where we sort of introduced the ideas of Six Sigma and got us thinking more generally. I think that, as I'm sure is the case, everyone here, that and Anna, you spoke about it, about lawyers being business partners within the business, not just a sort of distinct legal team. And I think definitely from the setup of Smith, we're all sort of set up and quite closely embedded with the businesses that we support. So I think it was just a natural transition that, as we were seeing Six Sigma projects and lean projects elsewhere in the business, that we're just looking at how that translates across to the legal team. I think the key, because there is obviously a danger, as I sort of say, you can sort of get everyone have their fill of sort of lean projects, particularly things like voice of customer survey. So we're trying to be we're partnering up where we can, so that we're not drawing on the same people time and time again to ask them questions. And I think this is important with any project or initiative, whether it's through a lean Six Sigma project or not, just to really sort of tap into the sort of what's in it for people as you're bringing them along on that story. So it was less about, if there's a crying out need, that actually people are busy. There's lots of stuff that's going on, and actually people want to be doing lots of sort of interesting work which is out there, that, this is all about sort of helping them to sort of release a bit of that time pressure. So I think once you start framing it in terms of the business outcomes that you're trying to achieve, and sort of less on the actual process that you're going to be following to get there, I think we certainly found that helpful.
Yeah, so it's change management in, I suppose, if you roll it all the way up to the top, isn't it? And most technology implementations that we've seen and outsourcing arrangements that we've seen, the best ones are the ones where there's been the right focus on that change management, of bringing people along, explaining the benefits. As you said, Kate, preparing the ground, acknowledging that things often get a little bit worse before they then get a lot better. But as much as you can do to sort of pave the way there, very useful. And as you were saying, Chris, you built up a little, and perhaps increased the complexity that you were comfortable with and the different volumes that we might have anticipated. Anything you could share on how you managed to implement that change at JCI?
Yeah, I guess necessity is the mother of invention, Jonathan, in that we needed your help. I've taken the approach with the business of less is more. They don't know that Konexo exists because they don't really need to. So it's a big change and it's a big deal for the legal team. It's of no consequence to the business whatsoever. So I didn't tout it, I didn't talk about it, and that was a deliberate decision because I've got thousands of salespeople who just want to get a deal on the books. They know they need to work through legal. Who they work with is, to a certain degree, is secondary to them. And trying to take them on the journey, I didn't feel it was necessary, and I think it's testament to the quality of how the process is working, and that I'm not getting asked questions about who this person is or what's changed. So I think that the change journey for the team itself has been fairly straightforward because they're pleased with it, and they embrace it because they see the opportunity it gives them to do other things, like I said. And for the business, there is no change journey that they've been on. The other thing I'll just add quickly as well is that the system that the business used, Salesforce, around sales and how we get stuff on the books, it was helpful that Konexo were just able to plug into that as if they were employees of Johnson Controls. So again, no change needed there either. So yeah, that's how we've kind of met the challenge, by not doing a great deal in a tactical way, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's probably, you've avoided what could otherwise be a ton of resistance or challenge that you just don't need to encounter.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting.